Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. As Valentine's Day is right around the corner and I find myself single and alone again, I thought I'd do a dating kind of update video for you all today and talk about my 5 dating non-negotiables. A non-negotiable is something that you will not budge on, so someone that you might have considered if you found out one of these things, it would make you reconsider or not even have them a consideration at all. So, just a quick dating update. Some of you know that I had met somebody in Seattle and we definitely hit it off, and I was thinking about kind of how things ended with him, and he's not a bad guy. Some relationships just end because you're just not compatible, and it kind of inspired this video in many ways, because when I was thinking about what went wrong with this, it was definitely a lack of communication, a gap in communication, and basically I don't want to get into details because to protect his privacy, but something that was super important to me and I've always been very honest and upfront with from the beginning is that I definitely want kids. I mean, I don't want to meet someone and have them right away, but I do have that in my future. I definitely want family. I've always placed a high emphasis and a high value on family, and if someone doesn't want kids, that is a deal breaker for me. I'm not apologetic about it. That's something that I am not willing to negotiate on, and me wanting kids and then someone not wanting kids, those are two very different lifestyles and paths. So the reason why things ended with my last guy is I was told from the beginning that he was open to having kids, and then when we had another conversation, he brought it to my attention that he didn't want them, which was a very different response, in my opinion, than what he had said to me previously. So, without further ado, that's a little update. I'm single again, and that's okay. Being single is okay with me. I've never been afraid to be single or lonely being single or any of those things. I mean, I want to find love, and I know love is out there, but I'm not in the market to settle. So if I never find someone who I'm compatible with and wants the same things, then there's other things that make me happy, and we'll just have to see. We'll have to see if love is in the cards for me. So, without further ado, let's talk about my 5 dating non-negotiables. What are 5 things that if I found out about one of these things, then you wouldn't even be on my radar? So number 1, let's start with kids. I want family. I've always been honest about, wanting family. And look, when I was younger, it'd be weird to bring up the conversation of kids, especially late teens or early 20s. That conversation you usually don't have right away until maybe you're dating for a while, unless you start thinking about marriage or something like that. But now that I'm 33, I mean, you don't want to feel rushed, but you have to have that conversation at some point, and usually sooner than later, because you don't want to waste your time with someone if they have very different goals and ideas about what they want out of life. So kids, I'm always very honest and upfront from the beginning that I want family, and if you don't want family and you don't want kids, we're not gonna work. So that is first and foremost is, do you want children? And if you don't want them, please don't say that you want them, or give me an answer and just tell me what I want to hear, because that's never ends well. Number 2 is smoking. I've never really been a smoker. Occasionally, when I was drunk in college, I would have a cigarette, but very rarely. And I actually am an asthmatic, so I actually get quite sick around smoking. It was kind of good that I'm an asthmatic, because I was never able to pick up the habit of smoking. Every time I would smoke, I would get sick. So I just kind of stopped smoking. I was like, it's not worth it. I also am a runner, so as I've begun a new healthier lifestyle with eating and exercising, I've just had less and less of a tolerance to even be around smokers. You want to go out and have a cigarette, no problem. I don't judge you. I just don't want to smell it. And I don't want my hair to smell like it, because usually I smell very good, and if someone wants to smoke in my car, it gets right into my hair, it gets into my clothing, and I just don't really have the patience for it. So nothing against smokers, that's your own prerogative, but I just would not want to date a smoker. And you might say like, oh, you know, if someone was outside and they smoked, it doesn't really work like that. If you're a smoker, it's on your person, it's on your breath, it's on your clothing, especially if you smoke in your house, it's in the curtains, it's in the carpet, it's in the walls, it's in everything. So me and a smoker just would not work out. Number 3, you have to be a lover of pets or animals in general. I have a dog, and so if someone is like super annoyed by barking or dog hair or things of that nature, that wouldn't work out either. I've always loved dogs. I have a little bit of an allergy to cat hair, so I don't necessarily know if I could live with someone who has like a ton of cats, just because my breathing would be affected, but I've always had a huge heart for animals, and if someone is just like annoyed by animals or can't be bothered, I mean, I don't want to say my dog comes before you, but my dog was here way before you, so if you don't get along with this little sweetheart lounging in the background, we just probably wouldn't have a lot to talk about or a lot in common, because I just love and have such a huge heart for animals. So that is definitely number 3. You have to love dogs, you have to be open to pets, and you have to just be, I feel like pet lovers are kind of like the best people in general. They just have usually kind hearts and warm souls. So I definitely would want to be around someone that has a similar feeling about animals. Number 4, I am Christian. I wouldn't consider myself like overly or super religious, but God is definitely like an integral part of my life. I go to church on Sundays. I'm not someone who like can't miss a Sunday if something's going on. I do try to attend church as much as possible. God is definitely underlying in a lot of the decisions that I make in my life. You know, my family is also Christian. We pray at the table. So if that makes you uncomfortable, we probably wouldn't be a good fit either. It's not that I'm intolerant, like if you don't have the same beliefs as me, that's fine. I definitely dated people that have been Catholic or a different religion, or you know, aren't as serious about their religion as I am, or don't really have any beliefs. I've dated those kinds of people too, but it really comes down to, would my family being Christian make you uncomfortable? And as long as that answer is no, you know, then I think we'd be okay to date. You don't necessarily have to come with me every Sunday, and you don't necessarily have to believe the same things as me. I would like that if that was the case, that would be awesome, but as long as you're not uncomfortable around it, I think that would be my main consideration, is that you know, you're not scoffing at me or making me feel that I'm making you uncomfortable. So that's pretty much it when it comes to religion. Politics too, I tend to be more conservative leaning, but I'm a pretty level-headed person. I can have an adult conversation with somebody whose views oppose me. And yeah, I think with religion it could be the same way. I just would have to be sure that that person was comfortable with me being a person of faith. And if that's okay, then I think we would be fine. Number 5 would have to be someone who's very family oriented. I've always been someone that enjoys spending time with family. So if you're a hermit and you don't like to be around other people's family, or you just don't like to go out and do things, I feel like there might be a disconnect there. I don't want to feel like if I say, let's go over to my family's house tonight, they're making dinner and we're going to play some games after or watch a movie. If that's an inconvenience to you, or I feel like I have to drag you there, and you don't need to come every time, but obviously many couples do a lot of family activities together, but you know, I'll want someone who loves being around family, that like, you know, basically my family would be an extension of your family and vice versa. Someone who has that relationship with their own family, so that they welcome me into their family dynamic, and then vice versa. But if you're someone that is just like, oh, really, we have to go to your parents' house, or if I feel like every time I invite you somewhere that you don't want to go and you're doing it just for me, that's never fun. So I definitely want someone family oriented, because I've always grown up in a very tight-knit, loving, warm family, and I want someone who kind of has the same idea of family, which I guess this kind of coincides with number 1 as well. So I think those are my 5 dating non-negotiables. I think these are pretty standard. I didn't get too specific about like physical and being like only attracted to a certain type of person. These are major life fit that I'm looking for, and just, you know, these deal with compatibility issues. So just to kind of reiterate and sum things up, dating non-negotiables would be someone who wants kids, someone who's a non-smoker, someone who's okay with me being a person of faith and you know, not uncomfortable around that, someone who loves animals and will love my dog like their own, so we can have a nice little pet family. And 5 would be someone who's family oriented and loves being around family, their family and my family. So I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you all in my next video. And happy Valentine's Day. And better luck for me this year. Right, Godiva?